In the news this week, upon reflection, young Labor members in WA react to the party's review documents following shock election loss.
Digital Frontline WA upgrades its technological crime fighting with the iPhone 11 as new recruits.
Fishing aggregating devices set to increase sport fishing to boost WA's tourism and economy.
Plus an exclusive interview with YouTube rapper Baba Brinkman on Western Perspective. That's coming up.
This is the Evening News with Ivan Leung and Danielle Staniskov.
Good evening. After months of soul-searching on why they've lost the election, federal opposition leader Anthony Albanese admitted the party has got it wrong during a speech this week. As Labor's internal review was made public, young Labor Party members in WA also contemplate on how to win back Australian voters. Ships Way has this report.
Admitting you're wrong is never easy. But federal opposition leader Anthony Albanese took it under his chin.
Now, I'm not interested in excuses. We got it wrong.
In his address to the National Press Club this week, he admitted Labor's failure to present a clear and concise narrative.
People were confused or even frightened by our policies or didn't trust us to implement them.
The Labor Party's internal report also agreed, concluding that lower income voters swung against Labor, along with Bill Shorten's unpopularity, confused voters, and Clive Palmer's $60 million campaign.
From what the discussions I've had, the report's been really positive. People have seen the report, read through it, and thought this is a good option, good roadmap for the future.
Jess Canold, a young Labor Party member, praised the report as being positive and a good roadmap for the future. He also urged young Labor members to keep learning, rebuild and position better for the next election.
Young Labor, as it always has and always will put through their policy items and try to contribute to our national debate, and will also be on the ground campaigning.
Meanwhile, political expert Dr. Ian Cook urged Labor to make a better compromise between the interests of younger and older people. Shipsway, WMN News.
Western Australia is updating its frontline policing, with the iPhone 11 helping advance the fight against crime. It heads up a $19 million police technology investment, helping police officers on the frontline keep up with crime in the digital age. Nelson Liu reports.
WA Police is upping the game on digital crime fighting, getting on the same page as WA's youthful offenders. The state's police force is equipping each of its officers with iPhone 11 devices, aimed to give them faster access to policing information and resources while on the front line. As part of an $8 million deal with Telstra, the phones will enable officers to perform identity checks, capture evidence and report crimes, while also ensuring officer safety. The devices will help the force be prepared with the tools to keep Western Australians safe as part of a $90 million technology investment while combating crime in the technological fast lane.
This will take our police force into the modern era. It will enable police to be able to do a lot more work in the field.
We see the adaptation to modern technology by our younger officers to be just normal. In fact, they expect it.
60 iPhone 11s have already been issued to officers this week, with the remainder of the 4,000 phones to be delivered by Christmas. Nelson Liu, WAMN News.
Temperatures in Perth has hit a record November high of 40 degrees over the weekend. According to the Bureau of Meteorology in WA, it'll be the earliest November that Perth has experienced a 40-degree day, and the fourth 40-degree day in November in the city since the 19th century. However, the heat wave was short-lived as the temperature dipped by 13 degrees on Sunday. The cool change in the weather will see temperatures dropping to mid-20s in the western coastal parts and extend across to the whole of southern WA by Monday.
Temperatures will drop and will go back down into the mid-20s for Sunday and Monday, but we'll start to see temperatures rising again next week, so that by the time we get to the end of the working week next week, we could well see temperatures back into the mid-30s and the whole cycle repeating itself.
WA will increase sport fishing in the state, with fishing aggregating devices to be introduced in a bid to boost WA's tourism and the economy. Purpose-built floats will be located off Perth, Albany, Bunbury and Cape Naturalist to attract schools of bait fish to bring in migrating species including mahi-mahi, tuna and wahoo. The state government says it aims to bring in visiting fishers while also providing an economic boost to regional towns and centres.
We're really thankful that the state government is supporting this. This is exactly what we'd like to see recreational fishing licence money spent on. Small, dedicated investments into the regions that really do provide enhanced fishing opportunities, enhanced visitation. Recreational fishing in Western Australia contributes $2.4 billion to the West Australian economy every year.
The Australian Broadcasting Corporation announced they will pull off this week's episode of Q&A following complaints of offensive language used by one of the guests during the program. The episode, broadcast on Monday, focused on presenting challenging ideas from high-profile feminists discussing a range of issues affecting the community. In a statement, ABC Managing Director Ida Buttrose says the broadcaster acknowledges that the program was provocative in regarding to the language used and some of the views presented. It's understood the broadcaster will assess the concerns raised by the members of the public and investigate whether the program met ABC's editorial standards.
French President Emmanuel Macron has decided to cancel a joint venture property development approval with China in the outskirts of Paris. The Eurocity project, located between Paris's two major airports, is expected to cost €30 billion, with a completion date set at 2070. Environmentalists, however, feared the project will destroy rare bushlands around Paris, while developers criticised the government's move, saying it will affect investment confidence. United States Defense Secretary Mark Esper will visit 4 Asian countries including South Korea, Thailand, Philippines and Vietnam. The Defense Department says Mr. Esper discussed with South Korea on the issue of intelligence sharing with Japan, which is due to expire on the 23rd of this month. There are reports suggesting the high-profile meeting with US defense officials will put pressure on South Korea in order to extend the joint military intelligence agreement with Japan. The meetings will also focus on the matter of military expense budget contribution requirements.
And finally, members of the Indian community in Perth celebrated the 550th birth anniversary of Sikh religion founder Guru Nanak. With more than 12,000 Sikhs living in Western Australia, a huge parade was held in Perth CBD this weekend with Sikh martial arts and food as the event's major draw cards. Fireworks celebrations were also held this evening in Bennett Springs, followed by sports and youth day festivities to be held this coming Saturday afternoon. And that's our weekly news and current affairs. We have the latest news on our website and social media pages.
Until next Sunday after 8 p.m, thank you for watching. Good evening.
Take care.